theme this year is bringing heritage home, which is really sort of another real contemporary conversation in arts education and economic development. This whole notion of heritage and cultural tourism that the state has embarked upon, that it's really the talk around the state about building economic development through storytelling and each community telling their own story. So we thought we'd really use heritage as our tool this year. Great lineup, great Eli Yemen is back and Evan are back, so we've got some really great music, great presenters, and really excited about being at the Riley Center.
The 2010 Whole School Summer Institute was held at the Mississippi State University's Riley Performing Arts Center in Meridian, Mississippi. Participants and presenters arrived from all corners of Mississippi and other parts of the country stretching from New York to Hawaii. Registration offered everyone a chance to get acquainted with the week's activities, preview schedules, and discuss strategies for getting the most out of the many workshops, curriculum track sessions, arts experiences, team meetings, special presentations, and evening activities and performances. As is typical of all Whole Schools Institutes, the week was power-packed with experiences designed to enlighten, stimulate, engage, and empower participants to improve the growth and development of our children.
So this must be our continuing commitment, to see that in these conflicted times we not let our pursuit of the fast buck or the superficial gain obscure the longer range goals that should guide our society. This will not be easy to do. It gets harder and harder to know where our duty lies, what the right priorities are. But the models are there, molded and shaped in the pages of 1,000 books and songs and pieces of art. It is there that we find the vision and the strength to see us through life's complexities and ambiguities and tragedies. We must insist that more of our fellow citizens join us on this incredible journey. Thank you for leading the way. Thank you very much.
We are teaching them to make little miniature baskets and things that they can take back to their classroom. And we also teaching them a little bit about the history of pioneer basket weaving and how to teach their children to go out into nature and look for other things, other art, back in their classroom, recycling back in their classroom, and making gifts, entrepreneur, because they can go into gift shops, and it's also therapeutic. It's relaxing the mind. It promotes creative thinking. And it develops the muscles in the hands, and a lot for senior citizens where they've had a stroke and they need to manipulate their fingers. It's good for that. It's amazing when we use pine from once they're put together what a beautiful object it is, and it is teaching them to use resources that are around them.
I'm teaching recycled sculpture to all my students. I've brought in lots of junk from my house, and they're taking it and making whimsical creatures, people, utilitarian objects that they can use in their everyday life or take back to their classroom and show their kids how to do it. Kids really enjoy getting a hands-on feel for the way the art works and to take things that are everyday objects and look at them in a different light. Well, environmental sciences could use this. History teachers, English teachers, they could use it for doing creative things with different novels or different parts of history. So there's several ways you could tie it into your classroom. You can find your heritage in many ways by creating artwork that says something to you about Mississippi and about your heritage. I have a piece here that my great-grandfather made for his grist mill, and I'm showing that to people to show that it's part of my heritage, that my family has always taken things and made them into something else.
I'm Andrea Schipke, and I'm teaching this class along with Casey Watts and Sarah Elston. Basically what we are doing is taking consensus maps that we use in our classroom, and we're teaching Mississippi heritage through it. And the first day we're doing Jim Henson, and we are learning about Muppets, and we're tying that into, of course, the arts, but we're also tying it into science and learning about the fulcrum, the force, and the load, and teaching congruent shapes and symmetry along with that. And we also tied in, of course, our social studies along with that too, and our language. Force is when you move something. So when you do yours, when you make your Muppet work, where's your force?
The session is called Literacy for Little People, and we're starting by taking different storybooks or text and using the stories and then creating an arts activity from that. And so we did a story about parts of the body, or the body, where the body is featured, parts of the body are featured. And so this is for teachers. It's a way for them to go back into their classrooms and help their students become aware of how their body moves, of what part of the body impacts another part of the body. So if they're being pulled by their nose, what would happen to the whole body? What would be the force there? If the finger is leading them, then what? If the finger is moving, then what else is moving? If we're creating a dance using only our fingers, we did a lot of movements with isolations, being able to isolate different parts of our bodies, being able to move just our neck, or just our shoulders, or just our toe, just our hand, because we tend to move, children move all parts of the body all the time, and they're not always cognizant of the different parts that can be moved. Really, the focus of my workshop is to give teachers a new way to get students excited about reading by combining reading with other kinds of activities.
Some of you are clawers, some of you are rippers. Just do your own thing. Just do your own thing. Let's try to this, and get your face into it. This screech, screech, screech. Well, I close the curtain.
Teachers and students have so much fun with storytelling in the classroom that it's easy to forget how valuable storytelling is as a form of teaching. And so I start out by emphasizing the theory behind storytelling in the classroom, emphasizing multiple intelligences and the ways in which children actually learn language, pointing out the kinds of information that people know intuitively. For example, that children, young children especially, learn language by listening and speaking, not by reading and writing. A child that goes to China is going to learn Chinese by speaking and listening. So I take those observations about how children learn and how best to teach and relate that to storytelling to demonstrate that all great teachers are in fact great storytellers.
I have come up with a new curriculum study that teachers will have about 9 or 10 hours with me, where we really go through what visual art needs to look like in the classroom, integrated throughout every subject area. So we'll be doing a visual art connected to social studies, a visual art connected to science, to math, to language arts, over these next couple of days. And my real goal for the teachers is this. Making the art and learning how to make the art is quite a different thing than learning how to teach the art. And so I'm trying to get them to not only learn some basic fluency in how to use different art materials and fluency in different art concepts, but I also want the teachers to know, how does this look in their art form, the pedagogy, the teaching of the art in the classroom? How do you set up an art lesson? How is that different than teaching other things? And there are some differences. And when teachers often have trouble integrating visual art in the classroom, it's rarely a case of them not being able to draw or some deficit in art skill on the teacher's part. It's some kind of error in our pedagogy thing, that maybe we introduced the visual art into the lesson at the wrong time. Maybe the students didn't have the correct prior knowledge. So these are teacher art things that I'm trying to focus them on.